All right, so today we got Alex with us here from ShopSolar. Absolute legend, had a ton of success, doing well over nine figures in e-commerce revenue. So just to start off here, Alex, for people who don't know ShopSolar, are you able to share a little bit about your business and what your roles and responsibilities there are?
Yeah, 100%. So Shop Solar, or it used to be ShopSolarKits.com, rebranded as Shop Solar, dropped the kits, but kind of self-explanatory. We sell one-click solar solutions. So our kind of unique value proposition is we put all the cables, connectors, adapters, batteries, solar panels, everything together in one easy-to-purchase kit for the customer. They add to cart, check out, and then we take all the complexity on the back end and get it all fulfilled to them, and then provide the lifetime support and the diagrams and everything that go along with it. So started that in 2018, I guess. So in our eighth year now, and yeah, my title, I guess, would be head of marketing, chief marketing officer, head of revenue would be kind of what I throw around. And so overseeing everything from the paid ads to organic, SEO, now you could geo, email, SMS, affiliates, helping out with the sales team. So anything on kind of the revenue generation side is where my role sits. So I co-founded it with a buddy of mine, and so he's more on the ops side.
Amazing. Yeah, so basically it took a very complicated process that was a huge headache, extremely simplified now at this point. Um, so I guess getting into some of the work that we've done together, what were kind of the things that you guys were struggling with before starting with our service?
Yeah, I mean, a bunch, but the biggest ones would be like essentially just kind of like what I was calling spamming the list in terms of sending just emails. Any email we sent, we pretty much just sent it to the entire list. There was really no understanding or thought process when it came into like segmenting and then probably not sending enough emails, right? Like because we're sending to the entire list, it felt like sending one or two emails a week was like the most you could send, and it was like you can't send five, six, seven, eight emails a week. That seems crazy. And so didn't fully understand that. And then because we were doing all of that, our deliverability was taking a hit. We were down in like the 40s, 45, 50, under 50 of deliverability. So that just meant no one's even getting the emails. And so really those would be the big ones, like no real strategy or understanding around how to segment and where to send emails, not sending enough emails, and then having pretty shitty deliverability on those emails were a big one. And then even a little bit on like the growing the list side of things. But I would say it was more on that side of things that we were struggling.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. The deliverability aspect of it, it definitely can be kind of a vicious cycle where things start kind of going downhill, and then that kind of affects the other aspects of it. So it's
Right.
definitely, yeah, a challenge if it's, you know, um,
I didn't really understand it or know much about it until we started working with you guys. It wasn't really somewhere I looked in the Klaviyo account, because it's not necessarily right in your grill. It's not something that maybe even Klaviyo puts front and center, even though it should be, because it's kind of like the whole element. Like if no one's
yeah,
getting your emails, then it doesn't matter what else you're doing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess how is that affecting the overall business with kind of email struggling with deliverability? How did that impact you guys?
I mean, just seeing it always land in my promotions or my spam inbox was frustrating and annoying. And so then, yeah, attributed revenue and flows, right? Because campaigns would be what were affecting the deliverability the most, because we could just kind of spam sending the emails. And then so that was bleeding into all the flows, which were like important emails that customers needed to get, whether that be fulfillment, follow ups, that sort of thing. And so then it started to bleed into there where customers were like, well, I didn't even get that information. Didn't get those details. And so it started to affect kind of the flow side of the business, which was also frustrating. And we do have some revenue generating flows in there as well, or had some in there. Again, they were pretty weak, but so really annoying there. So just leaving money on the table, not giving a good customer experience. I think that was the other thing that was happening, was it just got so messy that like after a customer would order, they would get all these different random emails. Like it just was a lot. It was years and years of build up and kind of just crud of stuff. And so customers would be like, you sent me like six emails after I ordered with a bunch of different information. So it just
Mhm.
needed a good cleanup as well. Kind of less is more, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then, so how are our services able to help you with those issues?
Yeah, I mean, coming in and getting right to it, removing a bunch of that crud that I just talked about, and then saying, look, we can segment the list and we can send 5, 6, 7 emails a week, but we're going to send them to different people, and we're going to send different emails, and we're going to send them to people that are actually interested in them and that we know based on behaviors what they're doing. And so, also just like instead of sending to the whole list, building kind of like an active, engaged, and at the right stages of the sales funnel portion of the list. So it's like, look, we can send this, and then we're going to get, now we get 50, 60% open rates where we used to be in like 30, not even 30, like 10, 20%
Yeah.
open rates. And so watching the open rates now, it's like if we're not doing 50% plus open rates, like that, I don't think that ever happens anymore since working with you guys, which has been obviously huge. And now deliverability kind of just lives in the 80s, which is nice. And so a lot of that is just like getting rid of all the excess emails, doing proper segmentation, and then we see attributed revenue come up from that. The flows are being, the click through rate on the flows. I don't have it offhand, but I think it's decently high. It's like 6, 7%, or something like that, which before
Mhm.
it was ridiculously low because people weren't even getting them. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's added tons of value, and it's probably added a couple $100,000 a month in revenue to the business.
Amazing. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that's a big misconception people have that if you send more like 5, 6, 7 emails, people are going to jump off the list, or it obviously varies by brand. But if you're sending to the right people at the right times, we've actually seen the spam and unsubscribes go down,
Right.
sending more emails than you guys were before. So that's definitely an interesting aspect of it there. But yeah, I'd love to if you could share any kind of big time milestones or wins that you guys have seen since joining our service or business results in general.
I mean, the number one that comes to mind was I think our pop up when you guys joined was converting like sub 1%. And within like a few weeks, not even within a week of you guys joining and making some tweaks, I think we popped to like 5 or 6%, which is huge for any business, but for us being decently heavily reliant on paid traffic. And just anything. I mean, even organic SEO, all that stuff, you're still investing cash. So converting whatever that is, 100% more people that were paying to get on the website, that was pretty massive. So the list has grown significantly since you guys have joined. The other big milestone, I've kind of already harped on this one a lot, but I think it's just so huge, is doubling deliverability from the 40s to the 80s. That many more people are getting it, and then that has bled into higher attributed revenues. Depending on when we look at it week over week, 50 to 70% attributed revenue. Like as I already said, that's probably milestones have added. If I had to put maybe $250,000 on average a month in revenue. So I mean, those are some pretty big improvements and pretty big milestones that I feel good about now. I don't have anxiety about our Klaviyo account and our emails anymore, which is a nice feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last question here for you. What would you say to someone considering working with us?
I mean, it's a no-brainer, especially if you have Klaviyo and you have some stuff going on, and it's important to the business. That I mean, it's one of those areas that I think sometimes because Klaviyo can be so automated, it feels like you can just kind of set it and forget it. But ours became a mess doing that, and getting you guys in there and having you guys come in. One thing that I really like working with you guys over other agencies that I've tried in the past, or just other things that I've seen, is that you guys really feel like you're a part of the team. You're in our Slack. The emails you're sending feel like they're on brand. They feel like something we would send. It's easy to communicate. You're letting us know what's going on. We're having a weekly call, and so I really see Afterflow as like an extension of our team, or like our email, SMS, and retention, like team member, almost like a fractional marketing manager, so to speak, which is nice because that's not always the case. Sometimes it feels like the agency's overworking in their black box. They've scheduled out 6 weeks in advance. You have no control over it, and it's just kind of like whatever gets sent gets sent. Whereas with you guys, it feels like a nice happy medium between like we're organized, we're pushing out a week or two, but everything is on brand and dialed in. And so it really, I mean, if someone's in my shoes, it frees up a lot of time as well, because you guys can just take it, run with it. A little bit of an onboarding process, getting you guys all dialed in and aware of the brand messaging and everything, but 4 to 6 weeks, and then it's just kind of you guys rocking it. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a long-winded way of saying it's a no-brainer.
we appreciate that. I mean,
Absolutely.
definitely one of the things we take pride in, being a part of the team. Like we want that as well, and just always having open communication, letting brands know exactly what's going on. So appreciate that. Thank you so much for jumping on today. Really appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks, Bryce.
All right, take care.